if you want to be a successful business owner, blogger, content creator, podcaster, whatever it is, you need to build a community that is going somewhere specifically for you. So they need to be going specifically to your website. Otherwise, all you're doing is renting time on a platform that could change at any minute, could disappear at any minute. I mean, do you guys remember Vine? Vine, there were so many people who built a living off of Vine, and then it was over. Same thing with TikTok. If you have built a business on TikTok that is relying on TikTok leads, or you're creating content getting paid on TikTok, your business is right now gone. Whereas anyone who has built up either has multiple channels that they're distributing on, so they're well diversified in how they're getting traffic to their website.
Welcome to the podcast. Nathan Newberry here, your host. I have Jordan Becerra jumping online with us to go through the podcast. I'm super pumped for you guys to really hear her story and her expertise because she's an amazing at SEO. She's an expert. She's been doing it for close to a decade. She's been working with all these influencers. Her family, her connection is some big wigs in California. So you're going to be able to love to hear her story. Before we jump into some of that, I really want you to be able to grab a free training I want to give you that's down below, helping you know how to build your brand, to really build authority, to really look at how to really build a solid coaching company that's going to scale and grow. That's a whole training I have set aside for you. So make sure to grab that here at the beginning. But Jordan, as we're jumping into the podcast here, I want to ask you what I ask everybody here on the podcast is, what is high performance? What does that look like? How does that feel? What are you really kind of allow that to be like describing in your life?
I would say that high performance is operating at a level of efficiency and effectiveness that is the best of your abilities. So, and I think that's going to be constantly changing. You know, my best of my ability 10 years ago was different than it is now. And I hope that in 10 years from now, it's going to be at a whole other level. But yeah, just constantly optimizing for effectiveness and efficiency in all areas of life.
That I think that's important. And you're a mom, you're a wife, you have your business, like you have a lot going on, and it's amazing to kind of see all the differences and stuff. But tell us a little bit about, like, what do you do? How do you serve people? How do you connect with people most?
Yeah. So on the mom point, I would say that becoming a mom is like Navy SEAL training for life. And it really is the greatest tool to level up. You learn what you're capable of, and you learn how to optimize and be more efficient and more effective. So I think becoming a mom has been one of the, greatest tools for me to excel in life. But going back to what I do, so I'm Jordan. I'm the founder of Influencer SEO. We help bloggers, content creators, coaches, any kind of digital entrepreneur that's trying to make money online, grow their website traffic and income using SEO. So we work with really anyone. I think at this point, the word influencer has kind of been used traditionally for that more like fashion, lifestyle, LTK influencer, if you will. Mm-hmm. But now the term has become much more broad. And I include coaches, podcasters, founder forward businesses to be influencers.
Yeah. And in future questions I'm going to ask you is kind of the priority of everything and how we need to prioritize this as online brands. I want to get to that here in a minute, but if you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure to do that and connect here further with Jordan and her expertise as well. But make sure to like and subscribe down below. But Jordan, at the beginning here, you have the success that you've been built up because you've been able to service so many online influencers and really have this expertise. But bring us back to the very beginning where you were uncertain about what you were doing, but you've been doing this close to, I think, a decade here, working on doing this. So you've really focused and narrowed down. You didn't pivot like so many entrepreneurs. It seems like it's like you've narrowed down, like this is who you help. And how, I mean, you've been doing this for so long, but bring us to that beginning. How did you sort through? How did you know you were a little bit different with being a high performer?
So if I could go all the way back, I have pivoted in my career and throughout the almost, 8 years that I've been in influencer SEO. But going way back, I will start with my family. So my father has always been an entrepreneur. I have seen him do many different things throughout the course of my childhood. I helped him with his businesses. He really brought me along, and always, even on ventures that he never brought to fruition, he would bring me along to see, okay, here's how you investigate a potential business. Here's the time and, effort that it takes to potentially do something. And then my brother and my sister-in-law as well, they were very, very entrepreneurial always. So I saw my brother, do multiple things. I saw my sister-in-law doing multiple things. So I always had those influences around me as far as entrepreneurship goes, and, what that lifestyle looks like. So straight out of college, I went to ASU, go Sun Devils. I started my first business, and it was a political social networking site. I was a big dreamer. I thought that I was going to change the world with this debate forum where everyone could share their opinions. I was wrong. I got burnt out on politics very, very fast. But I did learn so much about building websites, SEO, all the technical aspects and the foundational elements that go into running a website, which I think is key because, as you're deciding what you want to do in life, you never know what steps along the way or, points in your journey really matter. And even though that was a failed business, like it was a complete failure, it was key to my success in the future. So after, failing, closing, it was called Vocalize. It was a total fail. My sister-in-law, Lauren, her blog is The Skinny Confidential. It's now a podcast and a beauty brand and a huge successful business. She brought me on to work on a social network that she was founding. It was like a fitness social network. So I started working for her, and over the course of the next few years, I really, did a lot of different aspects in her business, but I fell in love with the influencer space. And I learned everything A to Z as far as like what it feels like to, do photo shoots, create content, manage affiliate programs, show up on other people's platforms, all that kind of stuff I learned under her. But in the end, I wanted to do my own thing, and I loved SEO. I worked on her SEO, and I just saw that there was really a white space in the SEO world, which was this influencer space that most SEO companies were too expensive for influencers. They didn't cater to their specific needs. So I thought, hey, riches are in the niches. Let's just focus on this one space and help as many people grow their blogs and brands as, as the Skinny Confidential did with SEO. So that's how I got into it.
And let me define for all our hearers here. If you're not sure what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. I like you and I just skipped ahead because we've been in the digital marketing space for so long, but search engine optimization, it's very important. Everybody Googles everything. And so rating and ranking is really important for everything. That's how people find and search everything. And so she specializes in this. And so I want to get your expertise in this because many times influencers, they just think, hey, I'm on social media. I just am there. And they don't really prioritize maybe the back end of everything else because they're driving traffic to it on that level. Tell us kind of like the importance and maybe some data points of what you've been able to see and search and really kind of help hone in with people saying this is how someone can actually make more money and get more leads by really having your site optimized. So tell us kind of the leverage points and the reason why someone needs to do it.
Yeah, so there are so many reasons why. Well, let me back up. Today is actually perfect to discuss this because TikTok has recently been banned. So if you are a content creator and you have put all your eggs into short form video and you are getting all of your leads, or a lot of influencers actually are just on TikTok and they make money off of their TikTok following. So they're not even directing anybody to anywhere else. They're not sending them to their website. That is a huge mistake. If you want to be a successful business owner, blogger, content creator, podcaster, whatever it is, you need to build a community that is going somewhere specifically for you. So they need to be going specifically to your website. Otherwise, all you're doing is renting time on a platform that could change at any minute, could disappear at any minute. I mean, do you guys remember Vine? Vine, there were so many people who built a living off of Vine, and then it was over. Same thing with TikTok. If you have built a business on TikTok that is relying on TikTok leads, or you're creating content getting paid on TikTok, your business is right now gone. Whereas anyone who has built up either has multiple channels that they're distributing on, so they're well diversified in how they're getting traffic to their website, or they have a community on their website that is just going there directly to them, they are fine right now. They're not worried at all. They still have a business today. So I think at the end of the day, just business strategy, I would always want to focus on the platform that I own and use all of these other like social networks to help support that platform and make that platform stronger. Think of it as like the cherry on top versus the driving force. So with SEO, the great thing about it is that it drives about 1,000% more traffic than social media to your website. So out of all of the choices of marketing, there's, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, there's all these different, email marketing. There's all these different choices. I would prefer to use the one that drives about 1,000% more traffic, and that would be SEO. It's also just so much more sustainable because most of these short form video platforms or social media platforms, they're really focused on the scroll. So it's all about time. So when was something recently posted? If it was posted in the last 24 to 48 hours, it's still going to be on the scroll and on the feed. So that means that any type of content you create, it's going to add value for you and drive traffic to your website or drive leads to your website for a very short period of time. Whereas Google is really based on, and I say Google instead of just SEO in general, because Google is really the top search engine.
Right.
So when you're doing SEO, you're going to get 99.99% of your SEO traffic is going to be Google traffic. But that kind of traffic is based on the value. So if you write a blog post and it ranks on search engines and it's valuable enough to pop up as an answer for a search term, it will be there for 2 to 5 years on average. So that one blog post that you spend time on will bring you leads and bring you traffic to your website for 2 to 5 years versus, you spend 4 hours on an Instagram post, it gives you 24 to 48 hours of value in leads. So it's really like a no-brainer when you think of it in that way.
How can someone pair this together? And actually, let me ask you this beforehand. Dive into this. Does Google, with your expertise, do they use and recognize the captions of Instagram and YouTube things?
They can crawl the entire internet, honestly. So I'm not even sure I know that they can because they do index videos from
I guess
TikTok and
YouTube is part of
Instagram.
Google. They own it. So
Yeah,
I can understand where the
YouTube for
captions are.
sure.
I'm just thinking of the SEO data point of like an Instagram or TikTok, the description captions, with all is that indexed through Google as much?
Those are indexed and they pop up in like a video section. So there will be like an actual section that has TikTok videos and Instagram videos on the Google search results. And that's newer. That hasn't always been a thing. But it is important for multiple social media is important. I want to be clear that I'm not ever saying that social media isn't important. And it actually is a ranking factor now for Google. It's a brand authority ranking factor. So if you have a very strong social media, Google's algorithm takes that into account and says, okay, this brand has authority. This is a brand that is important. It's adding value. So they'll be more likely to index your content. But the thing about brand authority is your brand authority can help boost your SEO, but it's only going to bring in as much traffic as people are genuinely searching for you. So like my brand authority, for example, if someone is searching for influencer SEO, they're looking for me, right? So that's the people who already know who influencer SEO is. They're searching for the name. They're looking for it. But the great thing about SEO is that is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to reach outside of that audience that knows who you are and find them because of what they're searching for. So find people that are your target audience because they're searching for things that are related to you. So In my example, maybe they're searching for blog tips or how to make money online or SEO tips for coaches, that kind of thing. So the goal of SEO is you reach outside of your current audience and pull in a broader audience
Mhm.
to introduce them to you, if that makes
Let me
sense.
just clarify too, for everybody listening in. It's like the importance of creating a lot online, which is what I think many influencers are just saying, hey, I got to be on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and they go all in on that. What I think we want to kind of clarify with your expertise here, Jordan, is that you have to pair that content with your website, and it needs to be dynamic with everything that's linked in with SEO, because it will give you an evergreen more source of leads and revenue with it. Because what Jordan's saying,
Yes.
it's like you have a 24-hour window with a story or a content piece being served in their algorithm with their social media. And then with your website, it gives you a runway of years to really get and capture more connections and audience.
Yes. So SEO will bring you more people for a longer period of time. So if you create, let's say, and I'm just going to use a blogger as an example, or let's use
Yeah.
coaches because that's relevant. So let's say you're creating a post online for your community. Let's say you're a real estate coach. You work with real estate people. You would say you're creating content on Instagram for real estate people. So that could be, okay, how to build a great door knocking strategy. Okay. So you're creating this video, how to build a door knocking strategy for Instagram. Okay, great. You post that video. You take 4 hours to create, edit, post that video. You publish it on Instagram or TikTok. I'm going to use those two as the example. That video gets likes, comments, and saves, and potentially drives some traffic to your website or your profile for 24 to 48 hours. If you took that same amount of time and you instead wrote a blog post on it, you would get value for 2 to 5 years, because if that post ranks when someone Googles how to build a door knocking strategy on Google, that post will be there for longer than just that 24 to 48-hour period, because Google is not indexing things based on the fact that it was just immediately published like these other social media platforms are. Additionally, the lead conversion is going to be much higher because you are reaching somebody who is intentionally searching for door knocking strategy on Google. So they're taking out the time to go and actively search for this information. They're more likely that they're in a position to convert. Whereas on social media, they could be in a doctor's office waiting room. They could be on the subway. They could be sitting in their car waiting for their Tesla to charge, and they're boredom scrolling, and they're following, 1,000+ other people, seeing fashion, seeing your post, seeing news. Maybe they're ready to convert, maybe they're not, but they're definitely not actively searching for that information.
How do people pair their content? Like, I feel like it's not necessarily an either or, but it's like togetherness, the harmony of all the stuff connected. How can people, how do you work with your clients to pair all that together?
So, really, the perfect strategy is, okay, you have the blog post, and I'm going to use the same example on the door knocking strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You create the video for the door knocking strategy, and you have that published across all of your platforms. So, maybe you have it on Instagram Reels, you have it on TikTok, which TikTok is no more. So, maybe not TikTok. You put it on YouTube Shorts. That's probably the best
Mm-hmm.
option. And then you embed the YouTube video into your blog post. That would be great, because then your blog post is now has the potential to rank for video on YouTube. It's connected, which Google owns YouTube. So there is a lot of synergy there. So you have them, and then anybody who goes to your blog post, they can read it. So they can actually engage with the text, or they can watch your video, which if they are more inclined to engage with video content, they have that option there. So that's really the winning strategy right there. Is you have the potential to rank on Google, you have the potential to rank on YouTube, you're hitting that 24 to 48 hours on those on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And that's also good for your branding and putting your name out there and whatnot. So that's what I would highly recommend. And I would say your strategy for blog posts should be at least one per week. If you can get two up per week, that's even better. And everything starts from there. So your blog post is first. What kind of content are you creating on your blog? And then you create social to drive to that blog post and support that blog post.
I love it. That strategy is killer. Yeah, I think everybody needs to apply that because that's going to really give them not only short-term strategies for marketing, but the long-term play that's going to help you build your business. Let me ask you, Jordan, with the obvious question that I think people want to know most is how can I use AI? What's your thoughts behind creating SEO content around AI? What's the pros and cons, and how would you kind of help guide someone if they need to set up some SEO strategies to really dial it in?
Sorry, my camera died. Is that okay if I just start it
Yeah,
and stop it
yeah,
again? Okay, sorry. I want to get it going again. Can you edit this part out?
I will.
Let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, no. There we go. Okay. So AI is such a hot topic right now. Of course, when ChatGPT launched, I had pretty much every single client reaching out to me. How are we using AI? What are we going to be doing with AI? And it was kind of a trending topic, and everyone jumped on the bandwagon and started creating a ton of AI generated content. So and I preface with this because I don't know how accurate the data is, because everyone was just flooding to ChatGPT and all these different tools and using it, and they're not super efficient, and they don't know exactly how to use it properly. So all of the studies on AI, as far as SEO goes, show that AI generated content does not perform as well as human generated content. And that's for a couple of reasons. Search engines really value unique perspectives, and AI is not able to produce anything that has not already been created. So it's just synthesizing and regurgitating information. So there's nothing in there that is new or unique. It's not an individual thought. It's nothing. It's not creative. The other thing about AI is that it doesn't have taste. So especially because I work with bloggers that have, they're really the thought leaders. They're the influencers. They're showing people what's next, what's going to be the next trend, all of those cutting edge moments. AI is not able to do that. So it is not able to say, hey, the new style of jeans is going to be this, or the new way of creating an Instagram video is going to be this. This is the new taste, I guess. So it's just not as good, but it has an important role to play in my industry, and I think in every industry. AI is incredible for brainstorming, for cutting down time, where in SEO we use it for editing. You can use it to you can train a bot in your voice and use it to like edit and add more oomph to content so that it sounds more like you,
Mm-hmm.
versus if you just write a rough draft. You can actually use the AI to spruce it up. We use it for ideation, so coming up with concepts in a blog post or list of tips, outlines, things like that. But it is not meant to sit down and write all of your content for you. And it is not even meant, a lot of people I know, they use it for like creating email flows. I've tried that a million times. It works, but I still feel like I have to go through and edit it so much
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know that it's saving that much time. I find that it's the best really for brainstorming. So helping me get the initial outline going of what I want to create and get some ideas, and then I can kind of knock things off and fill it in with my own vibe and energy and creativity.
Let me ask you. I know many content creators. There's there's a thought behind quality and mass volume, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think some people throw together, reels and contents and blog posts, and it's just a shot from the hip, just hoping and praying something works, and they throw it up real quick. And then there's some really thoughtful people that really think about quality and how they observe their content. Well, is there something that Google sees, like an indexing of sorts, that they see the speed and the quality, or can you do both, or is it a either other? What's your thoughts behind that?
Always quality over quantity. That's one of the actually the biggest mistakes. That is one of the biggest mistakes that
Okay.
I see with bloggers and content creators is they are putting out low value content. And so they're just flooding their site with junk that ends up just bringing down the overall value of their site. So you want to have a site that is an authority that is creating high value content on a very consistent basis. So if you're just putting out content to put out content, you're not building up that authority and you're just adding a bunch of low value content to your site that's not going to perform. That's going to make it harder for you to perform in the future. And a lot of the time, when bloggers have done that in the past, they end up having to go back and remove content to kind of clean things up. So I will say it's better to do things right from the beginning and focus on creating one really good post rather than creating 10 so so posts.
I love that. I love that. Where
And same with social media. I mean, I'm not a social media expert. I am an SEO expert. But social media, same thing. Their algorithms can detect how good an account is over time. So if you just post a bunch of stuff and it's not getting any engagement, that's going to impact your account. So it's better to post less often and get, high value engagement when you do post than just try to flood the platform.
I want to ask you some personal questions of how you manage your household, how you manage your business, how you find time, how you kind of like really kind of carve out planning and setting goals. Because you and I have both young kids. How do you find the time? How do you sort through your day? How do you prioritize the day? How do you set up your goals? Talk about some of that.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Finding or creating systems is how
Mm.
we manage it all. I also have an amazing husband who also runs his own business and works from home. So we have to work on our schedules together constantly. I have a lot of help. And I'm also a homeschool mom. So my kids are not going to school every single day. They're home. They do school 3 days a week with a teacher at our house for a couple of hours. And then the rest is all appointments and activities and like home learning. So it's busy. My husband and I work out together a few days a week. That's always on our schedule. Working out, I think, is one of the most important things for moms and business owners. If I do not work out and do something for myself before I get into mom mode or business mode, boss mode, I'm just not the
Yeah.
same. So I have a very strict schedule of when I work out, and that's always scheduled same time, either with a trainer or with a group of friends or with my husband, and that's like on a weekly schedule. As far as how I manage my team and my business, same thing. We have weekly calls that are designed to like bring us all into synergy. I manage a completely remote team. So we are all on our own schedules. A lot of my team are moms and digital nomads and people like that. That's why they value working for a company like mine that is 100% remote. So just having the systems in place that are, okay, this is when we meet, this is the time you have to be available, and having that be a non-negotiable has been really important. So I guess the short answer of your question is everything is systemized, everything is on a schedule. There's no flexibility. If my workout is scheduled at 9, it's there at 9.
Hmm.
If my kid's school is scheduled at this time, it's scheduled at that time. My calls with my team, same thing. And that's how I've really been able to get it all done.
Yeah.
It's constantly evolving and it will constantly evolve. I'm always tweaking and optimizing and moving things around. But yeah, that's pretty much the answer to that one. I hope that was helpful for people
When
out there.
you're an obsessive personality like I am, with just making sure things are right, and in control and you're really thoughtful and trying to plan your day and being strategic about things. Where in your schedule do you really prioritize the self development, the reading books? Is there a schedule in that where you're just on the go, always thinking and processing how to grow in those regards?
Yeah, so I recently have started journaling every morning. So my goal is to get up. It depends when I work out. So I do like some mornings to wake up with my kids and make breakfast with them. But I would say most of the time, my goal is to get up before they're up and have some time to journal. And I have found that to be key. I'll journal and I'll read a little bit. And I'll usually save the mornings for reading something that is inspiring business wise. And then I'll journal. I have this process that I learned from a podcast, and I'm so sorry I don't remember who the guest was, but essentially it was on my brother's podcast, and she had this journaling method that it was you do your gratitude, and then you write down your goals and your to-dos for the week, the month, and the day. And then the final step is you write out what your perfect day is going to look like that day. So it's kind of like manifesting your day
Mm-hmm.
every day. And I have been doing that and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I feel like that sitting down and being like, okay, how do I want this podcast to go? How do I want my workout to go? How do I want to feel when I'm with my kids in the afternoon, whatever it is. So that's kind of been my, I guess, I don't know if that's self-development, but it's my time to myself,
Yeah.
to be reflective and think about how I want things to go. And then I read every night. So, I mean, those are, rather than watching TV, I sit down and I read a book.
I think that's so, so helpful. And what I want to kind of help everybody to kind of see is like Jordan is this type of person that's really trying to figure out how can she grow? How can she expand? And just opening that door is what most people are trying to figure out how to do and trying to set the stage of like your boundaries, your schedule, the baseline of how you need to operate and then really kind of opening those doors with that, I think is so, so helpful. And people need to know more and more about that. Um,
I definitely too. I was in Dan Martell's coaching program and that was incredible. And I think investing in coaches that are high level coaches,
mhm,
that's that is key because you don't know what you don't know. And so going into those groups with somebody who has kind of walked in your path or is walking a similar path can open your eyes to potentially the issues you could face or the what you could learn and where you could grow without even knowing it.
mhm.
So definitely investing in coaching. I think that's going to be something I want to do more of as well. I hadn't invested in a lot of like online coaches until I invested in Dan Martell, and I found so much value out of that. I think having mentors is key. My husband is a big mentor of mine.
Mhm.
My brother and my sister-in-law, my dad, my aunt, all entrepreneurs. And then I would say every single one of my clients too. Every time I get on the phone with them, I am learning about what they do. I'm trying to absorb it. The easiest way I find to like level up and get access to people's wisdom without having to get them on the phone or sit down with them one on one is podcasts. I love listening to podcasts. And I actually think I was listening to Dan Martell's podcast. And one of his tips was that you turn your car into a mobile classroom by listening to podcasts in the car,
Mhm.
not just for entertainment purposes, but specifically to learn. So I'm always listening to a podcast in the car and in the sauna. I sauna at least like 3 or 4
Love that.
days a
Love
week.
that.
And I put a podcast on, and it might take me, 3 saunas to get through one, 2 hour episode or whatever. But the point is that I'm learning through these moments where some people might just be listening to music or checking out mentally, or scrolling on Instagram. Instead, I'm going to listen to something and learn something.
Yeah. Yeah. Prioritizing, think of your mental health, your education, your physical health, priorities of your business, getting leads and revenue, your family is the number one priority. Sleep is another big health one. I do
Yeah.
remember this equation from Brian Tracy a long time ago. He said there's an E to E ratio. It's like if you looked and audit your day and your week and your weekends, how much are you consuming with entertainment, which is the first E, or the second E of education? And if you think of your mind as an open vessel and you're pouring in more education than you are with entertainment, it's going to be a healthier, useful muscle that's going to help you be optimized with everything.
Yeah, and I don't think that people need to feel so much pressure like you can never watch Netflix or you can never
No,
play
no,
video
yeah,
games and you can never scroll on Instagram. Trust me, there are times I want to just check out and scroll on Instagram, especially like politics on Instagram. I love following that stuff. It's so negative, but it's interesting. It's fun. It takes my mind off of everything. So I think that's fine, but if you're spending 4 hours a day scrolling on Instagram, I would definitely cut that back.
yeah, yeah. Jordan, I've had a blast having a conversation with you and learning some expertise on SEO and just learning how you operate. How can people follow you further and connect with you if they need some help with SEO, and want to really kind of pick your brain further with learning this?
Yeah, so you can reach out to us on Instagram. We are at Influencer SEO. You can always reach out to us on our website, influencerseo.com. You can reach out to me directly, Jordan T. Becerra, on Instagram. And we also offer like a ton of free stuff on our website. So there's blog posts and resources if you want to educate yourself. And we even do a free evaluation. So if you want us to actually look at your site, we'll tell you what's going right, what's going wrong, all the things associated with your SEO and your performance as far as driving traffic to your website goes. So that's the best way. And yeah, I love chatting with people. So at any point, if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them on over. We're happy to help. And I genuinely just love this stuff. So I love looking at sites and seeing what's working and what's not working.
Amazing. I'll put all those links down below in the show notes. Before you go, don't forget to check out in the show notes as well a training on if you're wanting to be a coach or a leader and you're wanting to really kind of scale and grow or even start. There's some free training down below that you want to check out to grab my free gift to you. And we will see you on the next episode of the Nathan Newberry Show.